Everyone to the Little Big Bro Podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the Little Big Bro Podcast. And today we have a special treat because I have a special guest.
Hi! We're in the same room.
For the first time. It's a little hard because my brother's out in Washington. I'm here in California. So we actually I get to do one today at the same time.
So yeah, it's really nice. Like schedules came together and able to watch the episode in the same little area. So yeah.
All right.
So the episode today we're gonna do is The Storm, which is probably at this point in the show, it's halfway through the first season, and this is like one of the big like pivotal episodes of the show. You get literally the backstories of Aang and Zuko. So it's a very Aang and Zuko focused episode. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a really good episode. All right.
Without further ado, let's get into it. Scooch more in the middle. All right. So the episode starts with Aang in a dream, actually, which is kind of cute because he's like riding Appa. And then he sees and
then Sokka's flying his glider.
And Katara's on top of Momo.
So
and Momo's gigantic for some reason. But his dream like very quickly turns into a nightmare, and he sees like a giant storm cloud where it ends up actually like showing him Monk Yatu, so like the caretaker of his. It's like poor Aang. He's still traumatized from what he did.
He sees him almost like a ghost,
and
then as he touches him, he disappears, and the cloud starts turning into a flashback of when he drowned and basically went into Avatar state.
Yeah. And
as soon as that happens, he wakes up, but there's a flash before he wakes up, and it's
like a lightning flash.
And it's almost like the image of the Fire Lord.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, and then he kind of wakes up. He wakes everybody up, and telling them like, he had a bad dream. Everybody's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's just a dream. But he's still traumatized from it all. Can imagine. But then we get the next thing where everybody's waking up, getting ready to go. And Sokka starts detailing his dream, where he needs to go. They can't go to a market because I guess apparently food eats people. And Momo talked to him and was mean to him. I love how Momo reacts to it. Like his ears just like what'd I do?
And now it sets over to Zuko and Iroh, and I feel like the storm's approaching from the north, so they want to head south and go away from the storm.
Yeah, with age, you start being able to tell when the weather is coming. It's in your bones.
And then at this point, Iroh is telling him we need to go away from the storm and for safety. And Zuko is like, safety doesn't matter. And he's like, well, but the crew. He's like, the crew doesn't matter. And part of the crew members over here, and gets mad. And then Iroh tells him he didn't mean what he said.
Yeah, he's very focused on still getting the Avatar. So that's like his main priority, and he forgets about anything else. And then we go back to the Aang gang. They're trying to get some like produce at the market, and even though they're trying to get like watermelons and other like fruit,
no money, no fruit.
No money, no fruit.
Nothing is free, even in the Avatar world.
And then she takes away the basket that they had, and then she kicks Sokka. Like poor Sokka just gets like the brunt of everything. Then they stumble into like a arguing couple, where the guy is telling his wife that he's like, it's not getting a storm. I'm gonna go get some fish. And like I said, with age comes the ability to predict the weather. And she's like, I can feel what storm coming. You can't go. And he's just arguing. Like, I can do it. I just need a new fish hauler.
And here's Sokka's chance to make some money, so he's like, I'm going.
Yeah, and of course the old man said like, yeah, if somebody come here, I will pay him double. And then Sokka's like, oh yay, you're gonna pay me double. He's like,
I didn't say double.
Poor Sokka. And then we jump back to Zuko.
Yeah, and so Zuko and the lieutenant overheard him are clashing. He's telling the lieutenant better show some respect, and he's like, and the lieutenant's trying to stick up with the crew members, saying like, we don't like the way that you're talking to us. He's like, what do you know about respect? He's like, you don't even care about anyone but yourself. He's like, and he tells like, he's like, even like your uncle, and so Zuko gets triggered really quickly, so he's about to like start like a fight with him, and then of course Iroh tells him he's like, it's enough. He's like, I'm sure we'll feel better after a whole bowl of noodles,
which usually works. I like the cool little detail that when they were about to fight, like their hands were crossed, and you just started seeing like steam coming out from their like wrists. It was really cool. And then we go back to the Aang and Sokka and Katara. Sokka's loading up skies, and of course you see the like black, like very gray black clouds coming in. So it's like, of course, it's gonna storm.
Very well drawn, because I mean, just when that's how I can tell when it's about to rain. I was like, you see black clouds, it's gonna rain.
Yeah. And the old man ends up finding out, like, realizes like, oh, you're the Avatar. You have the like tattoos all over your head. And he kind of yells at Aang. He's like, what makes you like, the Avatar isn't so great. Like, you literally left us years ago, 100 years ago, and where have you been? There's been suffering all around the world, and like, what have you done? You haven't been here for anybody. And that really like depresses Aang. Katara like jumps in to kind of defend Aang, but Aang, you see in his face like sad, and then he like flies off
because he already had that in the back of his mind, especially because of the dream. That's basically what the dream was, him disappearing.
Exactly. Yeah, and then Katara ends up following after him, and poor leaves Sokka. They leave poor Sokka behind without saying goodbye, and then he just keeps stuck in the boat.
He's like, get back on the deck.
Oh yeah, and then cut back into it. It's pouring outside. It's like pouring like it was like 2 weeks ago here in LA. Oh my god, LA had the worst storm. Apparently, the storm of the century. And I was here 2 weeks ago.
It was an Avatar storm.
Yeah, pretty much. It never rains like that in LA.
If you guys see me keep on looking back, it's because my dog is very needy.
Yeah, if you can see.
You can't see her right now. Oh yeah, you can a little bit. Okay.
We're back into Aang. Aang basically agrees with the old man. Like, he's like, I did turn my back against the world. And it was kind of sweet. Like, Katara comforts him. Even Appa like nudges his head on his back and is like, hey, it's okay. It's really cool. So
you noticed Appa squeezed into that cave too that they were in.
Yeah, and he was soaked.
At first it looked like he didn't fit, but then he squeezed right in there.
Yeah. And then we get really cool flashback where like Aang is at the air temple, southern air temple, and you get to see him on his little like air scooter, the little ball he makes.
This is the invention of the air scooter.
That's true.
This is where he actually came up with it.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's so really cool because like he has his tattoos, so like he was able to master all of airbending. Once you do that, then you get your tattoos.
Yeah,
so he did that like what, 11, 12 years old?
Maybe even before.
Yeah. So yeah, and so he wants to teach all the other kids to do that because they're like, "Oh, this is so cool." He's like, "I just made it up. I made it."
This is actually a cool scene because it shows like, it shows the avatar test that he has, and it's basically he's picking. Yeah. He gets to pick a toy or an item.
Yeah, when he's talking to the elders, the Airbender and elders, and they told him like, "Here are the toys," and he's like, "Oh, my toys from when I was growing up," and he picked them because they were fun.
Chose them because they seemed fun.
You chose them.
But what ends up happening is like he actually picked the ones that he like previous avatars.
Jinx.
It was really cool. So that's a really cool way of finding out how to know if this person's avatar.
Right.
And they're telling him they need him to start training even harder because
And you can start seeing the difference
is
between like those elders and then Monkey Atsu,
yeah,
which became his like best friend.
yeah,
And then now at that point, now they jump back into the Fire Nation and Zuko and the ship, and so the lieutenant is talking. It's okay.
To the rest of some of the crew.
Right. Some of the crew is saying like, you know, like how bad Zuko is and disrespectful, and then Iroh comes in and tells him, he's like, yeah, but you don't really know about his past. Exactly. And so he starts telling a little bit about his past, going like a flashback when Zuko wanted to go into one of the war meetings with his dad and his uncle. So he's like, no, you're not missing anything. He's like, trust me, meetings are dreadfully boring.
Mm-hmm.
And Zuko was young, and this was before his scar.
Yeah, I like Iroh tells the crewman like he's a complicated young man. So it's really cool. So yeah, in this flashback, he's like he wants to go into the meeting, and he's like, if you really want, like we'll go in, and he goes in with Iroh, but he tells him like, I don't know if he tells him to like just listen, blah blah blah, but like here, just like come in.
Yeah, I think he told him not to say anything.
Yeah. But it's interesting because you're hearing the war meeting and you're seeing like two generals talk about what we need to do to fight the Earth Nation.
And like with a lot of like war meetings, he's like, there's sacrifices. So
yeah, so like one of the generals basically says like, I want the 41st Battalion to go here.
Which is like fresh meat in there, and they're like, you know, fresh ones. And then
they're like they're not gonna do anything to the Earth Kingdom. They're gonna basically lose.
Right.
And he doesn't expect him to do anything. And then Zuko stands up.
And at that point, Zuko speaks up out of line, out of his turn into the war meeting where he wasn't supposed to speak.
Yeah.
And he says like, that's treacherous. He's like, you're basically sending them to die.
Mm-hmm. They're people who love the Fire Nation. Why are you sentencing them to die, basically? Which, hey, that's good. Zuko should stand up for it. And then we flip back to Aang, and Aang continues to talk. It goes into Aang's flashback again. And it's really cool. You see the other airbending kids, they're doing his little air scooter thing. And they even created a game out of it. And Aang's excited. He's like, oh, I want to play. But you kind of see a little bit of like the downside of being the Avatar. Whereas like even the kids there are like, if Aang is part of the game, then it's kind of like cheating whoever has him on the team.
Right. So he sort of gets
like neglected, which kind of sad.
He gets pushed aside a little bit. So now the kids don't want to play with him because they think it's going to be unfair.
Yeah, it sucks. So he basically goes, talks with Monkey Yatsu, but they're playing a game of Pai Sho. And you kind of see their dynamic. Like,
and Monkey Yatsu always makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like he's always putting jokes and making things fun to him. And
I feel like that's where Aang gets his humor.
Right. And at that time, like you see the difference of him and the other monks, because the other monks saying like, oh, you need to be training. You need to do all this time. And Monkey also sort of puts them in checks, being like, he needs to also be a kid.
Yeah, he trained enough for today.
And have fun.
Let him be a kid, yeah. Yeah, it sucks. I can't imagine the responsibility for an avatar. And also the responsibility for like a prince.
Right. And speaking of which, now we go back to Zuko, and it's going back to his flashback. I was telling the story like what happened when he spoke up.
Yeah, and Iroh basically saying like even though Zuko spoke up against the general, but since it was in the court of the Fire Lord,
and the general is picked under the Fire Lord, it's still like you're speaking up against the Fire Lord.
Yeah, so he basically was challenged to an Agni Kai,
or his punishment was an Agni Kai.
So like what Zuko thought, he was going to go into an Agni Kai with the general that he spoke up against, but since they were in the Fire Lord's chamber, it was the Fire Lord he disrespected. So he basically got put in an Agni Kai fire duel against his dad.
Right, and it shows his facial expression that he was he was ready for the duel, but then when he saw that it was his dad, it was just, what kid would at that age would want to fight his
your dad. Yeah,
especially
exactly.
that he looked up to him.
Yeah, and then we flash back to Aang and Gyatso and one of the other elder airbending masters are talking. I guess to the main airbending master of the Southern Air Temple.
Right. I guess the
main one, and basically saying like, discussing what they need to do with Aang. Gyatso thinks he needs to not only train, but he needs to be a kid, and the other airbending master saying he needs to train strictly. And what they end up deciding is that they want him to go to the other air temples and be away from Gyatso.
Right, because he thinks Gyatso is a bad influence to him.
Yeah,
giving too much fun, too much a kid, and taking away his responsibility.
Yeah, and then we like present day where Aang and Katara are talking, and you see Aang get mad, like he like does a little glow and a little airbending, just kind of like emotionally like mad at like they're gonna take everything I love, take me away from everything I loved. And then we go back into the flashback, and you see Gyatso going to Aang's room, and he was literally actually gonna take him away with him, probably.
Right, it looked like Gyatso was gonna take him.
I'm going to let them take you away from me. Aang?
They were gonna go together to train together, so wherever they needed to go.
Somewhere,
but
yeah.
He didn't really know that's what was gonna happen, so Aang actually ran away.
Yeah, with Appa, and this is where like the storm. There's a storm that's basically kind of like a storm that they are in the present day. He gets caught up in the storm, and him and Appa crash into the water, and basically that's where he crashes into the water. They're almost drowning. He goes in avatar state, freezes them, and he's frozen for 100 years. Like, and Aang can't get over it. He's like, he feels like he let down the world.
Right.
Which it's.
I mean, he sort of did, but he was still. I mean, he's still a kid, so I mean, it was like a common.
Yeah,
I think it was a
freak accident in a way.
It was an accident. He didn't expect to be like frozen.
Yeah, it was his like reaction, his avatar, basically his avatarness that just like saved his life. And then we flip back to Zuko's story. And we see literally him and his dad. His dad's walking to him, and basically Zuko's on his knees saying, like, I meant no disrespect. Like, I don't want to fight you.
And at this point, you still don't see what the Fire Lord looks like. You just see the shadow of him.
Such a good detail.
You will fight.
So and he just telling him, no, you need to learn respect, and you need to learn your place. And what did he say? Suffering will be your teacher.
Yeah,
as that's a scariest like phrase.
And Iroh was, looked like he had an expression like he was heartbroken, and of course his sister was excited about it.
Yeah, first time you see Azula, like literally right next to Iroh. Yeah, you see after the Fire Lord says that to Zuko, you focus on Iroh, and then you just see like a flash of fire, but you're just seeing Iroh's face, and he like looks away because he can't watch.
I looked away.
Zuko being hurt,
and
like
so
basically his nephew.
Now Iroh's explaining basically that he was sent away to not return until he shows the Avatar, and so now the lieutenant sort of understands a little bit more, and of like why he is the way he is, because he feels like if he doesn't find the Avatar, he won't return his honor or be able to go back home.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress to put on a
and then it goes
13-year-old kid.
So after the story is done, then it goes back and shows Zuko in his chambers, and you actually see pictures of him and like a painting from back in the day.
Yeah,
like him and his family when he was young.
Them running on a hill, like I think his dad with his hand on his back.
Yeah,
like there seemed to be a time where their family was happy. Who knows how long that was ago?
Right.
Which is it is a sad story. We flashback. Well, not flashback. But we go back to Aang, and the old lady the lady who was married to the husband who had the boat comes in to find them and tells them like, oh no, they're stuck in the storm, so they need to go help them. So Aang and Katara hop on Appa to go see if they can find the Sokka. Then we flip back to Zuko.
And so they're dealing with the storm as well.
Mhm.
And so the ship is getting
Got
tied
struck
up
by lightning.
Gets struck by lightning, and one of the guys is hanging on there. And then this is where you see Iroh use some of his lightning bending because he caught one of the lightning bolts and then redirected it. And so they actually saved the guy that was hanging from the ship. And this is where they're sort of intertwining because Aang's also in the ocean as well, looking for them and
looking for Sokka,
taking Appa and going through the waves and lightning crashing.
Yeah,
and they find a ship, but whose ship is that?
Sokka. Zuko's. They found Zuko's ship, and at that moment, Zuko is like, "Oh, the Avatar," and even the crewsmen are like, "What should we do? What do you want us to do?" And Zuko does the responsible things. We're like, "No, let's get this ship to safety."
Yeah, so he actually thinks he thinks twice now and thinks about the crew instead of his own purpose at the moment.
Exactly. And then we switch back to Aang. Aang finds Sokka's boat with the man, and you see Aang do a cool little water trick. The the stern, the big flag part of the ship falls down, and Aang uses water bending to chop it in half. Yeah. That was really cool. And then he ropes both of them to Sokka and the fisherman guy. Ropes them onto Appa. Oh, and then oh my god, a big wave swallows them. I don't even know how big. That's maybe a 30-foot,
100-foot wave.
Yeah,
who knows? It was a massive wave.
Yeah,
and I think he gets a flashback here because he goes in the ocean and
not even a flashback, but a similar situation. What happened to him in the storm?
Exactly. So it's
100 years ago.
But then this time instead of him being scared, he turns into the Avatar state on purpose, not on purpose, but to save them.
Yeah.
Instead of last time, it was just basically froze himself.
Yeah. Basically, that last time it was a self-defense reaction. This time he's okay, I need to get everybody out of the water in safety. Feels like he uses airbending to get them all out.
And then now after the storm is gone, then it goes back.
They're in the eye of the storm.
Yeah. They're in the eye of the storm, and Zuko apologizes to Iroh, and he's like, apology accepted. And Appa comes out exactly right by the ship, and so he sees them and sort of just lets them go because they take off through the eye of the storm to get out of it.
It was just a mutual nod, what's up?
You can fight later.
Exactly.
You can't go against Mother Nature.
Exactly. And then once they're back in the cave, everybody's safe. The fisherman's like, I'm sorry about being a mean guy. I'll give you some fish. And Aang's like, I'm vegetarian.
And so they gave it to Sokka. Sokka got the fish.
The fisherman's like, fish ain't meat. Oh, it was great. And I like in the background, he's just his wife is yelling at him while you're just listening to the Katara and Aang talk. And it's nice. He apologizes to Aang, Katara. Everybody's happy that Aang was able to save them and be, I don't know, was able to handle the situation.
Right. And then learn from it. Of course, after the storm is over, it's a beautiful day.
And what does every animal do after getting wet in a rainy day? They shake. So of course Appa shakes all the water off of him. And everyone's like, oh my god. Oh my goodness. Is that what you do? Do you shake in the rain? Yeah.
She's crazy. This is Lydia. She's our crazy little one. Hi, Lydia. I thought that was an awesome episode. I just liked how it showed got to see the backstory of both of them.
Yeah.
Of both Zuko and Aang.
Yeah, that is one of the coolest episodes. I don't know. I think it's 12 episodes in, so I don't know. This feels like one of those I don't know, Oscar-worthy episodes. You're just wow, that was a perfect episode. You're telling two stories and telling two backstories, and you're just damn. You understand why they're both how they are.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it shows their age because I mean, the kid, Zuko being what at that age, he would have been probably like what 15, maybe 16.
Oh no, he's like, well, technically he's like 13 now.
No, Zuko.
Zuko? Oh,
Zuko's
Zuko's 50. No, Zuko's like 15 or 16.
Oh, okay.
At least. So back when he first got the scar, when he got in the duel with his
So he was
dad,
probably like 14-ish.
13, 14.
Well, it had to be like maybe like 14, maybe like 14 or 15 because he got the scar and then he was sent away.
Yeah,
So
and it's been 3 years.
Avatars. Oh,
He's been 3 years looking for the avatar.
okay. So then
So like roughly 13.
probably like 13.
Not even put that responsibility. Aang has a lot of responsibility put on them, and
Right.
but he has Zuko. What you wouldn't call it responsibility, but you'd call it like. Well, I mean,
Like
it's
his
abuse,
destiny.
but
It's like he has his destiny and like his plan
mhm.
to like what he will become. So
Yeah.
and the thing is, Aang also has. Well, right now Aang has friends. So Zuko doesn't.
No, yeah, his best friend is Iroh, his
Iroh.
uncle. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into what's our first one. Best. Was it best bending and non-bending moment?
Best bending moment for me is Iroh's redirecting the lightning.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was my favorite.
That was cool. I think mine probably would be Aang. Aang when he did his avatar state and was able to control it.
Oh, yeah.
Just that moment, just
cool.
like seeing everybody kind of like holding onto Appa underwater.
Yeah.
And he just airbend, create like a tunnel, and then get S
That
out
was
of
a
there.
good one.
That was really
not
cool.
bending. I like seeing Sokka flying the glider.
Yeah, that was so weird.
The dream state.
Oh, so weird. What would be a fun non-bending moment?
I like the transition when it was going from like Zuko was after the story of his backstory was told, then it went to Zuko but I mean it wasn't really a non-bending moment. It was just him sitting.
I mean, I think the most you could say the most heartbreaking non-bending moment is like Zuko's refusal to fight his dad.
Yeah,
that just like
that was tough.
That just like hits your heart.
That just shows like how mean his dad is. I mean that's like just messed up.
Yeah, it's just like a horrible way to show your son a lesson.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see.
That arc?
Avatar's arc. So best animals.
I mean, there weren't any new animals. I mean, the only animal I can think of is Giant Momo.
Yeah, Giant Momo's basically the best animal in the episode.
I would love a giant Momo.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure they make that. I'm sure they make like big plushies. I mean,
yeah,
like a big Appa. Oh my god. There's like pillow pet. You know those pillow pets? Yeah. Like the little flat. You can find like a flat animal or something. They have a flat Appa. You can find it on Amazon. It's really cute. They're really comfy too. Right, and the next is the learning corner. What did we learn from this episode? It's the lesson.
The lesson. Jeez. I mean, it was almost like a whole learning episode.
Yeah,
but
I feel like
the lesson is don't let your dreams don't let your dream overtake what needs to be accomplished.
Yeah, or like the weight. Don't let the weight of the world, I don't know, bear on you too much. Because I feel like after this episode,
I think that you're on the right direction, just the right direction. So don't let the weight of what needs to be done,
of your responsibilities,
don't let the weight of your responsibilities weigh you down.
There you go. That's the lesson. That's the lesson. Yeah, because both of them have just a humongous weight on their shoulders that they have to like bear.
Yeah.
Aang being the Avatar, and then Zuko being the Fire Lord's son. Like he has to be the model prince,
or not even just the model prince, but just he's gotta like earn his dad's respect, or thinks he thinks he needs to earn his dad's respect to be able to be the person that he wants to be.
Yeah,
But
the person that he actually is a a compassionate, nice person, kind of like Iroh.
But which is not okay under the Fire Nation.
Exactly. Not okay under his dad. So yeah, so they have a humongous weight on their shoulders.
Okay.
Nice.
Next
I like that one.
All right.
All right, and now a cup of tea with Iroh. What would Iroh say? Iroh was doing a lot. He told the backstory of Zuko too.
Yeah.
The Groomsman.
I think Iroh would say the lesson. He's like, don't let the weight. Let's see if I can do Iroh's voice. Don't let the weight of the world weigh you down.
Weight of your responsibilities.
Don't let the weight of the world, the weight of your responsibilities weigh you down when you can just have a cup of tea and play some pie show.
Oh no, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Don't let the weight of your responsibilities weigh you down when a cup of noodles will solve your problems for the day. There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
Applause.
Because I love that part where you're just like, we'll be fine. Let's have a cup of noodles. We'll be good.
Oh, noodles do sound good.
Yeah. We actually ordered pad thai, so I'm very excited about that.
About to have some noodles later.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that was a really good
That was
episode.
a really good episode. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
And please leave your comments at the bottom.
Yeah, let us know what your favorite part of the episode was. And
let us know your cup of tea with Iroh.
That's true. And what type of noodles do you like?
I always like to see people's comments of their own Iroh version of the lesson.
Exactly.
Of the episode.
Yeah. What would Iroh take away from this episode? But from both sides, of course, like Zuko's and Aang's. What would he take from
exactly.
both? But yeah, well, thank you guys for watching us.
Stay tuned for episode 13.
Yeah. Or we won't be in the same room together.
Yeah.
But
we'll still be close at heart.
Exactly. I miss you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see you later.